Giving up on your dreams is something everyone has to do. Humans are dreaming creatures after all, and a lot of the time, we don't really want what it is we think we want, especially when we're kids and we just want things for the sake of wanting them. But for most of us, I feel like we hold a few dreams close. Dreams that we hold on to with a thin string of hope, but life still sweeps us away from them regardless. Whether it be jobs, school, or just any random distractions, that dream just keeps floating away while we tirelessly grasp at the string connecting us to it, until one day it slips away and you're sitting there, working a dead-end job years later. And honestly, it's not like life's really all that bad. In fact, it very well could be pretty good and you could be doing well for yourself, but it's not what you dreamed it could be. But does it have to slip away? Is everyone really doomed to the monotony of what is while daydreaming about the vibrance of what could have been? Assuredly not. I mean, there are billions of people living unique lives. Surely some of them attain their dreams, right? And I mean, it's not like anyone gets a second shot at this life thing. It really is, ironically, do or die when it comes to these dream things. At this point, you might be wondering what it is I'm even getting at. I have a dream, and it's a dumb dream. It's a no good, generic, shot in the dark type dream. I don't even have a really good reason as to why I want to do this dream, but I can't help that I want to do it. And I've thought about it for a long time too. It's not that I just want the end goal. I don't want to get rich quick or anything like that. I really want to do the journey too. Okay, I'll just stop egging you on now. I want to be a content creator. I want to make videos, shorts, stream, cool live events, all of these things, but for so long I've vaguely stated this dream without ever making significant progress. And my story isn't special. It's exactly the same as what I outlined earlier. I've held on to the thin string of hope that, for some unexplainable reason, connects me to content creation, but college, a summer job, doom scrolling, and if I'm really pulling the veil back and being honest, mostly enjoying being a chud that plays games all day. Okay, I'm not special. But anyways, all these things pull me away from it. And I know that can't go on forever. Because the opportunity cost of putting off career goals, not taking the safe route, all these little decisions I make because I'm holding on to this dream that I'm not even really working toward, they all build up. And thankfully I am privileged enough to have graduated 2 years early, so I have some wiggle room, but if I don't start now, then at some point it won't be worth putting everything off for a dream. I mean, it's not ridiculous to say I should actually use my degree, you know? Given all this, I've hatched an idea because I know that I'm not alone. In fact, I'm literally friends with people who are in the same situation I am. You can sub out the dream and the environment, but the parallels are there. So I want to do this publicly. I want it to be seen, not just for accountability, not just because it kind of doubles as content itself, but because if I can pave a way to my dream, then maybe someone I know, or hey, even someone I don't, will feel inclined to pave their way to their dream too. So what's the meat and potatoes of this whole idea anyways? Well, it's quite simple. In fact, it's something that even kids could and probably regularly do think of. A good old challenge. A content creation consistency challenge. Whew, alliteration. The challenge is based around making my struggle both visible and universally beneficial. Let me explain what I mean by that. The challenge's rules are fairly simple. I'm going to treat every week as its own isolated bubble where I try to improve my content game with the hopes of expediting the process of building my skills up through various challenges. Essentially, every week is going to have a few things. Base goals, which must be met in order to avoid a punishment. Push goals, which, when completed, would augment the reward. The aforementioned reward for completing the base goals with tiers according to the number of push goals completed, and finally a punishment if I don't meet my goals. The aim for this design is that even if I don't meet my goals, the punishments, while unpleasant for me, should still lead me to creating some form of content, which should kind of turn me into a content machine regardless of if I actually meet the goals. This also kind of applies to the rewards, but they're probably going to be slightly lamer for the viewer since I'll usually be enjoying myself with those, which sounds weird to say, but it kind of is how it is. Let me show these requirements with an illustrative example. Lucky for you, I'm already kind of in the thick of this challenge. Well, not really, I just started, but I wanted to use that phrase. Anyways, for the first week, I decided that I wanted to make it easy for myself since I'm kind of new to this. The goals are pretty simple. Post 5 unedited shorts per day, post 3 edited shorts over the course of the week, post 1 long-form video by the end of the week, and reply to 10 comments in total over the course of this week. And I'm not going to keep repeating over this week for the next weeks because it's kind of implied. This week's reward would simply just be something like choose the topic of next week's edited shorts, which makes more sense when you consider the punishment is I would have to spin a wheel to choose next week's topic. This week I decided to not do any push goals, largely because I forgot to set them and the rules of the challenge weren't fully set in stone yet, but this should largely demonstrate my point. Straightforward, unopinionated, quantitative goals with a reward and punishment, both of which result in me making content. But all this so far has been really optimistic, and to be honest, this wouldn't be the first time I've tried a challenge. So why do I think this time is going to be different? The first kind of corny answer is that people are a summation of all their past experiences, and even if I have tried in the past and failed, that's not necessarily indicative of how I'll do when I try again. But that's a whole bunch of philosophy and psychology hoopla. The second answer is that I'm going to be a little meaner to myself. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, I'm forcing myself to try out cringe, random methods, hoping that they work. Okay, well, not random. Technically, my software education taught me that Kanban boards and other organization techniques help even the worst in the industry, so I'm gonna try them out, but I digress. The third and final answer is that I really do want to document my whole process, and that part of it makes it weirdly fun. It's hard to explain, but only sharing the final product can feel a bit isolating, so sharing the process that you take to reach your goal, even if it's just sharing with the void that's present before you have a consistent viewership, does kind of add a fun factor to it. Now, here I wanted to do a section where I outline and share all these fun plans I have for future weeks, but now that I'm actually in this section and I've thought about it, I realize that this is actually a slight part of what I think a lot of people, especially including myself's problem with consistency and sticking to a dream are, because we're too far stuck in the clouds to appreciate what's at our feet. And to say that in a more plain way, I don't want to accidentally live in and stress out about a future that I have to take actions in the present to create. Because then I'm draining energy when I could just put in the work now. And I think that's a way more important thing to include than outlining all my future plans. But also, that would be a huge spoiler, and then you wouldn't have to tune in again or feel any need to subscribe, which you probably aren't, by the way, so you should do that if I've piqued your interest at all. Anywho, one thing I do want to do, because it almost feels wrong to have a dream without crazy, lofty goals, is to set some far-off, really long-term goals with some stakes that assuredly will not come to bite me later. Keep in mind these are all arbitrary metrics, but I do feel like it's my responsibility as a goal setter and a challenge doer to set some crazy far-off goals, so here. I would like to reach 100k subscribers on YouTube by the end of the challenge, which I guess I haven't mentioned until now, but I plan the end of the challenge to be 365 days. And I wanted to set a goal for TikTok and Instagram, but I thought that followers should proportionally be higher than subscribers, but saying this out loud feels weird, but I'm going to just go ahead and say it. I would like 500,000 followers on TikTok by the end of the challenge, which, like I said, feels crazy. It feels like a lot, but it's kind of proportional to the YouTube metric. I'm not really sure how to feel about that. And then for Instagram, kind of the same story. I would like 100,000 followers there, which honestly feels low comparing it to the YouTube metric, like I said, but I don't want to go too crazy on Instagram, and I've never actually had major success in the past on Instagram, so I don't know what to expect there. And lastly, of course, we cannot forget about Twitch, and this might sound crazy given that my first set of goals doesn't involve streaming at all, but I would like a consistent viewership of at least 100 people. Once again, completely arbitrary metric, but this does feel like something I should strive for eventually, and I do plan on streaming at some point during the course of the challenge. But honestly, weirdly enough, this feels like the least likely goal to reach, so it's kind of strange in a lot of ways to me, but these are important goals at the end of the day. I know these all are, at the end of the day, greedy, arbitrary, and random metrics to base this challenge off of, but alas, what is a YouTube challenge without crazy, arbitrary goals? Am I right? Anyways, thanks for sticking around to the end. Even writing this right now, I feel kind of corny saying it all out loud, and I might regret it if I don't end up meeting my goals or if I just crash and burn and don't really do anything, but I don't know, it felt right while writing, so I guess we ball. In case you're thinking about checking out my other videos, if it's prior to this one being uploaded, just don't. I'm honestly probably going to unlist those. Wait until my next upload. I promise if you subscribe, your YouTube should show it to you. Those other ones are not the highest quality. But my next one, that crud, is definitely going to be fire. Probably. Seriously though, thanks for watching and hope you stick around to either see me reach incredible, unbelievable heights, or crash and burn and have this be the only video I upload for the next 6 months. Also, just adding this in the post recording as I'm recording the audio for this script that I wrote, it is way harder than I ever thought to get those portions where you're talking to the camera and it actually looks like you're looking at the camera. I tried out like 2 different teleprompter apps, and honestly, it just looked weird when I was reading off of them. So like, I don't know if any YouTubers might end up watching this video, if anyone ends up watching it at all, but I seriously need like a tip on how to do those sections, because that's why a lot of this video turned into me just voicing over some Minecraft gameplay, because I wanted it to be something that was fitting, but I just couldn't get the entirety of the talking head section because it would just take so long to record all that. It takes me like 5 to 10 takes every single time. And I know this is my first time recording a video, but there's no way that they're just that good at that stuff. I mean, maybe they are. I could just be doubting them, but yeah, no, it's really hard to record a talking head section. It's way easier to record like with Audacity while reading off my script directly. But anywho, thanks for sticking around, especially to the end. Ta-ta.